My name is Denise Pavernick, and I am the co-founder of InnerStrength University. What I'd like to talk to you about today is what I do. There's so much that we offer at InnerStrength University, and it's important for me to share with you why myself and my co-founder, Kervin Desmoulin, my partner, why we decided to start InnerStrength University. What was really important to me and to him was that we connected with people deeply, regardless of what service we were offering. So what we realized is that you can't change one aspect of your life superficially. So to give an example, if we're certified personal trainers and I'm a certified nutritionist. So if somebody wants to come and physically change their body, lose weight, get stronger, more stamina, endurance, recover, say from a surgery, it's not enough just to exercise more or eat differently. You have to bring in what we call the personal trinity of mind, body, and spirit. So if you just change the body, but do not change the mind behind changing the body will go back to where it once was because it's only a band-aid or a temporary fix. So what we do is we offer something that no other personal trainers offer. We offer what other life coaches don't offer. And what's the most important thing for us is the personal aspect. You're not a number, you're not a dollar sign. We connect to you deeply and help you discover your true self. We introduce you to the real you. We know that you have no limitations. So with this, over time, going through my own personal transformation of mind, body, and spirit, and helping others along theirs for so many years, I've created a system, a type of step-by-step coaching that allows you to step outside of what you've been conditioned to believe and to tap into your own personal truth. And that is what's so powerful. You cannot live a life of what other people have taught you you should be or what expectations said that you should become. You have to listen to your own heart song. And that is how your heart communicates with you. And what's really important to understand is that the mind is so loud and it's so confusing, and it will have you looping over and over and over, hoping that you may find a solution eventually. And it can keep you stuck there for a really long time. So what we do is we get you out of your mind, out of that left brain logical thinking, and into the intuitive, powerful heart energy. Now, one of the things that I love to do, because a lot of people who come to my classes and one-on-one sessions come through the logical mind, that you're taught to look for proof and for evidence. And a lot of the times, where you want to go, you may be the groundbreaker. You may be the first person to ever bring it into being. So you're not going to find that concrete proof. If you think about anything that's ever been invented, it wasn't there prior. Someone connected to their heart and allowed that information to flow through. So what I like to do is to bring you in through the language that you're used to, and then teach you a whole new language. So what we have to do is quiet down the mind. And if and when possible, totally silence it. Because as we said earlier, the mind is loud. It can be obnoxious. It can keep you looping for a really long time. But the thing about your heart song, the thing about the whispers of the heart is that they're whispers. And you really have to tune in, which means you have to shut down the crazy mind and all of its thoughts. Now, I know a lot of people say to me, Denise, that's impossible, or it's so hard. But that's your mind responding. It doesn't want you to slow it down or quiet it down. So, of course, it's going to answer for you. But one of the things you're going to realize as you go on this journey is that you can be brain dead in this world, but you can't be heart dead. And science has proven that the energy put out by the heart is 65% stronger than the energy put out by the brain. And little by little, we'll walk you through some of this program called Creating Space. If you're familiar at all with law of attraction, which states that which is like is drawn upon itself, it is one of the sub-laws of the universe. There are 7 main laws. So law of attraction isn't even one of the main laws. It is a sub-law of the law of vibration. And there's been a lot of information put out over the last 20-some years about law of attraction. But if you just come in with law of attraction and you don't understand or put it in context of the other 7 laws of the universe, it would be like the equivalent of trying to learn multiplications of fractions without ever learning how to add or subtract whole numbers. There wouldn't be much context or understanding, and it would be very hit or miss. Yeah, maybe once in a while you could get a right answer through guessing, but for consistency, you have to understand it in the context of the whole, because the universe doesn't compartmentalize. It doesn't work independently of other laws. And the thing that you have to understand about the laws of the universe, there are no exceptions. And that is what I love about working with these laws. And I don't even know, some people call them laws, some people call them principles. Basically the same thing. They're just guidelines. And when you think about it, if you think about gravity, it doesn't matter what gender you are, how much money you have in your bank account, what religion you believe in, what state or country you live in, who your parents are, who you know, what school you went to, it doesn't care. It works for everybody all of the time in the same way. So I always joke and say, well, there's not people on the ground in Pennsylvania and, up in the air in Delaware. It doesn't matter. There are no exceptions. And that it's, in that sense, it's not arbitrary. You can't manipulate it. You can't ask for favors. It is what it is. It's on 24/7. And here's the best part about the laws of the universe. You don't have to believe in them for them to work for you or to work against you. So for gravity, you don't have to believe in it in order for it to work. And you could curse it and it still will work. And that's the real powerful thing. And people come to me all the time and they say, well, Denise, if I can't see it, taste it, touch it, or feel it, it doesn't exist. And then I say, well, then do you believe in electricity? Do you believe in microwaves? Do you believe in radio waves? Because that is how most of the information is transferred in our universe. When I type a text into my phone and I hit a button and somebody 50 miles away receives that text within seconds, how does it get there? Especially in this day and age where my phone is no longer connected to a wall or a wire. So there has to be some kind of invisible component that jumps out of my phone, flies through the air at the speed of light, jumps into someone else's phone and ends up on their screen within seconds, if not milliseconds. And that's how this universe works. But we don't question that because logically we believe in its existence because, well, we can see and manipulate our phones. But what we don't realize is that it's not even so much the manipulation of the laws of the universe, it's understanding that you live within them and they are working with you 24/7 since the day you came into creation. It's funny. I chuckle sometimes where people come to me and say, Denise, this law of attraction thing, it works for other people, but it doesn't work for me. And it would be like a woman or a female coming to me and saying, I just don't think this female thing's working for me. I don't know how to do it. But yet that's all you've ever done. And how you female, if you're female, is how you female. There's no right or wrong way. Your way is your way. And that's how the laws of the universe work. They work with you. It's just your mind that makes the judgment of whether it's working for you or against you. But you're always getting instant feedback in the now moment of what side of that coin that you're on. And most of the time we holler at the results we're getting because we don't think we're getting results if they're not the ones our mind wants. So over time and over many podcasts that we're going to be discussing now and in the future, we're going to break this process down step by step. So a little bit about my creating space empowerment coaching and mentoring. If you go to my website, InnerStrengthUniversity.com or .net, either one, www.innerstrength-university.com or www.innerstrength-university.net, you'll see a section called Working with Denise. And in that section of my website, there's all the information that you would need on creating space. My empowerment, mentoring, and coaching is unique because it can be used for personal growth or business growth. We transform you or your business holistically through your personal trinity of mind, body, and spirit, because there never is a separation of you and that which you do. Whether it's a personal that which you do or a business that which you do, everything is the business of you. I'm the person that you come to when you're ready for the big change, because I do not allow you to hide from yourself. I do not allow you to accept any limiting thoughts that you will argue for, and you will argue for your limitations, but you have none. Whatever it is that your mind has told you is your issue, is just a creation of your mind. And once you get that creation, that mind to be quiet, shush the mind. I wrote a beautiful blog, and on my website, you'll find my blogs, Denise's Empowering Words. And there's one of my favorite blogs that I've ever written is called, "Do You Think You Have a Problem? So Stop Thinking." All problems are created by thought. All thought is in the realm of your ego, which is your mind. And all thought, no matter if it's positive or negative, are illusions. They are just temporary indicators, whether you have the physical proof or not. And it's interesting when all of my empirical, logical, left brain thinking friends demand proof. But when I ask for the same thing to give me the proof that their limitations actually exist, they can't. And that's really powerful. So our sessions together bring it a type of harmony within your personal trinity while tapping into your infinity. You are this infinite creature. You are more than just your skin and bones and your body and a bunch of cells that just happen to randomly come together to form you, because there's nothing random. If this universe were truly random, your arm could fall off on its own right here, right now. Everything is here for purpose, on purpose, by purpose, with purpose, including you. You are limitless, and you will know this working with me as it will become your personal experience. Now, I teach over 75 different types of mind, body, spirit courses in person, and I'm slowly bringing them to life online. And what's really interesting is that I tell everyone, at the beginning of my classes, take nothing that I ever say as truth until you have the personal experience of it. And that's my definition of truth. Whose truth is the true truth? Well, your truth is your personal experience because it's undeniable. And it is your truth, but only for a second, because at any moment you can have another personal experience that is better than the one you just had or is pushing you forward. So I'll give you an example, a concrete example. I love to go into the gym and lift heavy weights. And, you know, I have a lot of factors that some people could look at me and say, well, you're female and you're in your late 40s and you've had 5 children and there could be all these issues. So therefore, you can't or you shouldn't lift heavy weights, or that will never happen because females just aren't built to be physically strong. I've been told this, but yet I can go in and deadlift 315 pounds because I don't believe I have limitations. Now, if I go in one day and I lift 315 pounds, but the next time I go into deadlift, I'm not able to accomplish it, it doesn't mean I can no longer ever do it ever again. It just simply means I can't do it in that moment. And in that moment, it's not my truth. But the next time I could lift 320 or 325 pounds, and there's my new truth. So my truth is always evolving, and it's not something that has to be set in stone unless you want it to be. But if your truth that you're living right now isn't what you want, it's only temporary. And if there is a truth that you want and you want to continue living that, then make it more permanent. But those things that do not serve you, I teach you how to get rid of them because they're only temporary anyway. And if you think of this, nothing happens outside of your experience, because the moment that you are no longer physically aware in this world, or as we call dying or passing on, your experience in the physical world stops. So there is nothing outside of your personal experience for you ever. And that's very powerful once you truly begin to understand what that means. So, throughout my years as an experience as a trained investigator and interrogator in crime, investigating financial fraud and other type of criminal activity, as a business sales leader, personal trainer, certified nutritionist, Reiki master, spiritual intuitive coach, I have a full repertoire of skills that range from the highly logical to the highly intuitive. And I will tell you, I got more confessions from following my intuition than ever of what was physically in the moment I was able to prove when I sat down to interrogate an individual. I will not allow you to hide from your true self behind the illusion of your excuses, because excuses are just words. And I understand that when you have a problem, that you're very attached to that problem and you believe it to be real. But the reason why you hire a life coach or a mentor is that we know it is not real. And as a coach, when you tell me your goal, my job is to keep you on track, and I kind of target that goal like a heat-seeking missile, and I never take my eyes or our energy off your goal unless you tell me otherwise. Even though people come and they hire me exactly for this, and they argue with me as I move them forward towards their goal. It's like the very thing that you hire me for, you're fighting me as we go and do this, but I know to expect that, and I'm ready for that. And I know that you're afraid, and I know that sometimes the fear of success is so much greater than the fear of failure, because most people experience in their mind what is more failure than success. And at least failure is failure, but it's comfortable to them. The value you will receive from our sessions together is the equivalent of having 5+ different type of coaches for the price of one. And once you start working with me, you'll be enlightened with awareness you have never experienced before. So my program, Creating Space, first taps into your intuitive side, and then we add the logic if needed. And that's the big key. This world always says logic first. But when you create the space first, very little logic is needed, and the results you get are better than the most advanced logic you possibly could have prior to creating the space. So I'll give you an example. If you have a goal, and logically we could sit down and say, all right, well, here are these 10 steps, and this is what I have to do. And maybe after those 10 steps, you might get your goal. When you create the space first, if those 10 steps still are the path, either one, you don't have to do them all yourself. Other co-creators come on board with you. Or two, another path opens up that gets you to your goal, maybe within 2 or 3 steps, in ways that you never would have logically thought of before. And this is where life gets a lot easier, and you finally get to breathe and enjoy. So your old system of logic first has taken you as far as you can go, because if you could have gotten where you want to go with your logic, and you have your logic, why haven't you gotten there? This is why you're seeking different solutions, and my coaching and mentoring is that solution. If what you've been taught or known before worked, you wouldn't be listening to this right now. This is all about you. I don't make your decisions for you. I guide you and coach you through the inner self-discovery exploration, through the use of your personal experience and learning how your own body's emotional system works. You will learn the language of your heart song, that will guide you to results that logic cannot reach. Together, you'll learn this creating space technique for your success. If you don't create the space first, it will not matter how many logical steps you take. Success will be minimal, or it will be elusive. And this process helps you cut down the effort, yet yields higher results. So let me give you an example of what I mean by creating space. If you were to go and have a house built, let's say it's the first time ever that you are living this dream of having a house built, and you get to design every room. You get to pick floor plans and materials and colors and fabric and types of windows and in what direction they're going to face. And you hire the best architects and all the experts that you've ever wanted to work with, and you create this beautiful blueprint of this house and all that is to go inside, the infrastructure, the outer structure. But none of it matters if you haven't got the most important ingredient prior to doing all of that. And most people say, well, what would that be? The space that you're going to create this house upon. You first have to have the space to build upon. And the space always must be a little bit bigger than what is to be contained in that space. And this is so very, very powerful. And you would think it would be a no-brainer, but it's such a no-brainer, and it's so inobvious that it's a step that's overstepped in the logical process. Well, of course, I'm not going to build a house on a space that I don't have. So you do the step, even though you don't realize you have. But that's so important when you're trying to manifest something that isn't as solid as building a house in a space. Let's say you'd like to create $10,000 worth of extra income next month. And you can think of all the different ways that you can do that. But if you haven't created the space for that, and it doesn't mean hiring or renting a room somewhere. It could be part of the process, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the more invisible space, the creating what it feels like prior to the actual physical manifestation of it. Because in this universe, feeling is everything. And you're always getting feedback based on the laws of the universe in the now moment. And we'll talk a lot more about the now moment as we go along in these podcast episodes, because it's essential. The moment of now is all that you ever have. You don't have yesterday and you don't have tomorrow. You don't have this morning and you don't have this evening when we're having, and I'm sitting here recording this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All I have right now is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I'll have 1:01 in the afternoon and 1:02 in the afternoon. This moment right here, right now. I cannot record this podcast later today, because later today, when I actually would do it, would be in the now moment. The only place that I ever can create, whether it's physically with my hands or mentally with my mind or on autopilot when I'm not thinking, the only moment that I can ever do that is in the now moment. So it doesn't make sense for me to think about what happened yesterday, because if I go back to my gym analogy, it doesn't matter yesterday if I was able to pick up weight or I wasn't. All that matters is today when I go into the gym and I have that weight in front of me. That's what matters the most. And if I can pick it up and I can pick up heavier, I give myself that high five. Hey, awesome. But if I go in and I can't pick up what I picked up before or push what I pushed before, I don't beat myself up. It has nothing to do with before. But yet most of us will go, oh, you could do that before. Why can't you do that now? What's wrong with you? Or you've done it all those other times and you can't do it now. Something went wrong. No, it just simply means in this moment of now, it wasn't meant to be. That's all it means. And once again, you could do it again later. You could do it again tomorrow. But when you do it, it'll be the now. And when you do have success in the now, it just means that you were a cooperative component to what it was that you wanted to happen. And if it's not working in the now, it simply means that you are not a cooperative component. It means that it's a little bit bigger in the space than what you've created, and you have to create bigger space. You have to create a stronger vibrational connection to what it is that your mind is asking for. Because the answer, when you ask this universe and you ask for yourself, because that's all you can create for, the answer is always yes. How soon you see that yes manifest depends on how much of a cooperative component you are in this now moment. So, to go back to my gym example, if I go to deadlift and I lift up the weight, and for some reason on this now moment that weight feels extremely heavy and I can't lift that 315 and my shoulders are saying no, that gives me an idea of what in this moment is saying no. Or it could be my lower back, or maybe I'm fatigued. And it could be a different response in the now moment. So if I'm fatigued, I know next time I'll be better rested when that now moment arrives. Or I need to give my shoulders a little bit more rest if they feel the way that they feel now. And I make a mental note. This is where logic comes in, okay? This was my attempt. It did not work today. There's a reason for that. I'm not a cooperative component. Let's see how I wasn't a cooperative component. And then I will then make sure that when there is the next attempt, I will be a cooperative component then. And every single time I've done that, if I had a temporary failure, what people would say is a failure, it didn't work when I did it the first time, I then make sure that I'm in cooperation with what I want to happen by creating the space of it, and then it does. And it really is that simple. But when you are living a life where you are running around in 10 different directions and you're putting everybody else, their needs in front of yours, it's hard to focus on you. You cannot help someone if you are not whole. So if someone comes to you and they need some extra money, you can't help them if you don't have your own abundance. You can't get poor enough to help a poor person, and you can't get sick enough to help a sick person, and that's not the way to help them. So in order to be able to help other people, you have to have yourself as solid as possible. And the great example of that is that when you're on an airplane before the flight takes off, as the flight attendant is going over the safety procedures, they always say to you that in the event of an emergency and the oxygen masks drop down, please put yours on first before assisting another. And that makes absolute logical sense, because if you're passed out, you can't help anyone. That is the same thing in your life. You first must help yourself in order to be an assistance to anyone else. And that is what creating space is, making sure that the space that you surround yourself is so strong, and you are so strong anchored in your space that there are no doubts that you can move forward fearlessly. My top goal for you is to feel like we've got your back unconditionally. While we seek to inspire and motivate, we hold you accountable, track your progress, and believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. And that is so very important. So very important. Personal accountability, or as my grandfather used to say, you own your space. My grandfather, on my father's side, played professional basketball for Philadelphia in the mid to late 1920s. And none of his children wanted to learn how to play basketball. So he taught me. I did have two older cousins. I don't know if they ever wanted to play. But as far as I knew, I was the first grandchild that was interested. And he taught me some amazing shots and how to plant my feet and push the ball without extra overexertion. But the most important thing he taught me was to own my space. And I'll paraphrase him a little bit, but this is so very powerful. He was talking about the basketball court as the space. And he said to me, he said, you know, Denise, when you step on that court, it doesn't matter if it's the home court advantage or you're the away team, you're the visitor on someone else's court. You step on that court and it's your court and you own it. And you play your game on your court. You don't play someone else's game on their court or allow another to play their game on your court, because you will always be chasing the other person and you will never be good enough in someone else's game. So you make them play your game, you own your space, and you take accountability for every shot you take, whether you make it or not. That is your shot, you take it, your choice, you make it. Every block, every steal, everything you do, you own it on that court. But the next thing he said to me was the most important thing. He said, you never leave your space or your court defeated. It doesn't matter if you're home or away. It doesn't matter if the game is over. If you did not win your game or make your last shot, you go back after the game and you do not leave that court until you've made your last shot. You always leave your space victorious wherever you are. That has stayed with me. I think I must have been 10 years old when he said those words. And that has stayed with me to this day. Everything I do, I own my space. I own my choices. I own my actions and my decisions. And this is what my Creating Space program is all about. Is in the moment, whether you have a split second because you're in a basketball game and that shot opens up, or it's something that you've planned in the 5-10 seconds it took you to run down the court and get into your spot, or a play that you've worked out with your team ahead of time. Every single choice, you own it because you are the only one making it in the now moment. And I never let anyone force me to make a shot I don't want to take. And that is what we teach you in this program. How do you benefit? You get greater clarity. You discover your strengths, your purpose and your passion, and how to integrate the different areas of your life, your business or your career to achieve true success and fulfillment. You increase your confidence. You learn how to trust and believe in yourself and your ability to create the health, relationships, happiness, and financial success you desire. You have an empowered perspective, freedom from the past, a renewed hope and vitality, a fresh outlook on life. Life gets amazing. The better it gets, the better it gets. Measurable results for my logical friends. We acknowledge and celebrate your progress, all the little victories, and experience the joy of accomplishing your goals and dreams one step at a time. It's not about the actual end goal. What good is a happy ending if you didn't enjoy the journey? Weekly inspiration. We cheer you on as well as giving you the push. And I am that friend. I am that friend that will give you the push. If you're afraid to jump and it's time to jump and there's no going back, I will give you that push. Relentless support. We stand by you. And we're there to support you through all of the hurdles, the opportunities, and the achievements. So there is a program for everyone. So we gave you a lot to think about, and this is just the beginning. We're slowly going to lay a foundation brick by brick for you. This is part one of however many parts it takes. But the thing that we want to leave you with is knowing that you have an infinity inside you. It has been with you since your conception. It has never left you. And it is just as strong today, if not stronger, and grows stronger every day. And it is just simply waiting, untapped, for you to dive down way below all your excuses and all your thoughts that you can't, to tap in and unleash your infinity that is always within you. Thank you today for listening. Once again, it is my passion and pleasure to bring such an amazing program to you each week. And we look forward again to sharing with you how you can enjoy a life full of passion and purpose when you simply listen to the whispers of your heart. Thank you again. My name is Denise Pavernick, and I am co-founder of InnerStrength. Be sure to click on that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so that you don't miss out on the new videos as they become available. Share them with your family and friends and schedule a free 20-minute consult with me so that I can help you create the space to unleash your infinity.